The wind howled across the red dunes like a wounded animal, carrying the metallic scent of scorched earth. I stood on the outer wall of Nova Outpost, the last human stronghold on Acheron-9. The sky above was a storm of ash and static, remnants of orbital bombardments that had shattered our satellites weeks ago. Now even the stars were gone. My name's Sergeant Dax Merrin, 4th Infantry Division, United Earth Federation. We came here to build a home. Instead, we built a tomb. Below me, the defense grid pulsed faintly, shimmering blue as it stretched across the desert. Beyond it, the wasteland boiled. Shadows moved within the dust, tall, angular silhouettes that weren't supposed to exist. The constructs, we called them. Machines made of flesh and metal, their circuits pulsing like veins, their movements too fluid, too alive. "Sergeant Merrin!" Lieutenant Vale's voice crackled through my comms. "Command needs a sitrep." I pressed my helmet's side panel. Same as the last 20 hours. Grids holding, barely. Motion sensors picking up hundreds out there, maybe thousands. There was silence, then a low hiss of static. "Hold them off, Dax. Reinforcements are inbound." I almost laughed. Reinforcements. We hadn't heard from orbit in 2 weeks. "Copy that," I muttered, holding the line. Behind me, the wall trembled. The soldiers of Echo Squad huddled in the trench, faces smeared with ash and fear. Private Juno Alvarez, my youngest, barely 20, checked her pulse rifle with trembling hands. "Sarge, they're not gonna come, are they?" I looked out at the storm again. "They always come, Alvarez. Question is, who gets here first?" A deep rumble rolled through the ground, shaking the metal beneath my boots. The defense grid flickered, sputtered, and then, just for a second, went dark. And in that second, I saw them clearly. Dozens of figures, sleek and black like living armor, racing across the dunes on all fours. Their eyes burned cold blue. Their jaws opened in perfect mechanical symmetry, revealing rows of grinding steel. They screamed, not in pain or rage, but in perfect modulation, like a choir of machines harmonizing death. "Contact front!" I roared, slamming my rifle into firing mode. The wall lit up with muzzle flashes, streaks of plasma tearing through the storm. The constructs moved like shadows between the shots, some falling, others climbing the outer wall with impossible speed. "Grid rebooting!" shouted Corporal Tanaka from the power terminal. 15 seconds! 15's too long, I yelled back, firing into the swarm as a construct leapt the parapet. Its claws sliced through the air where my head had been a second ago. I drove my bayonet into the creature's throat, metal and blood spraying across my visor. It shrieked, collapsing into sparks and gore. 10 seconds! Tanaka screamed. "Alvarez, left flank!" She pivoted, firing a burst that tore another construct's chest open, blue liquid spilling like coolant. But more were coming. Too many. 5 seconds! The wall shook violently. I could see the grid posts glowing brighter, overheating. The last power cells were dying. "Now, Tanaka!" The grid roared back to life, exploding in a blinding blue wave that engulfed the nearest constructs. The smell of burnt metal filled the air. The survivors scattered, disappearing into the storm. I slumped against the barrier, my armor hissing from the heat. We'd survived the first wave, but something told me it was only the beginning. The storm died just before dawn, leaving the desert silent. Too silent. Only the low hum of the power grid broke the stillness, along with the stench of burnt metal drifting from the dunes. We'd stacked what was left of the constructs in a pile outside the wall. They didn't rot, but they bled something that hissed when it hit the sand. Tanaka said it was some kind of synthetic enzyme, self-repair fluid. To me, it looked like they were still alive, dreaming of killing us in their sleep. Inside the outpost, command was chaos. The central hall flickered with dim lights as generators sputtered on low fuel. Officers argued around the holotable, voices sharp and desperate. Lieutenant Vale caught my eye as I entered, her expression brittle but composed. "Casualties?" she asked. 8 dead, 4 wounded. The constructs pulled back after the grid surged. She nodded grimly. "Scouts report they're regrouping." "You know what that means. They're learning," I said quietly. Vale didn't deny it. She zoomed the holomap outward. The dunes around Nova Outpost glowed red, heat signatures of hundreds, maybe thousands of moving targets. "We thought they were autonomous drones," she said. "But they're coordinating, predicting our counterfire. They adapt faster than we can reload." Alvarez stood near the door listening in. "You mean they think?" Vale hesitated. "They plan." The words sank into me like ice. Constructs weren't supposed to think. The war on Earth had ended decades ago. The machines there had been wiped out, purged after the Great Exodus. But Acheron-9 had secrets buried deep in its red soil. When we dug too far, too fast, we woke something that should have stayed forgotten. I remembered the first excavation site, Sector 12. The machines we found were dormant, half fused with fossilized remains, human skeletons wired into their frames. The science team said it was ancient, pre-colonial even. But if that was true, then someone, or something, had been here long before us.
Vale's voice snapped me back. "Merrin, I need your team to secure the outer relay station. If the constructs cut comms, we'll be blind." I wanted to argue. We were low on ammo, our med packs were half spent, and morale was running on fumes. But orders were orders. "Copy that. Echo Squad moves in 10. Outside, the sky bled red as the first rays of dawn pierced the dust clouds. The world felt hollow, like the planet itself was holding its breath. As we geared up, Alvarez glanced at me. "You ever wonder why they haven't just finished us off? Every day." She tightened her helmet seal. "Then maybe today's the day they try." I loaded my rifle, the power cell whining as it charged. "Then let's give them something to remember." We moved out through the west gate, the dunes stretching endless and dead ahead. Somewhere out there, in that shimmering heat, the enemy was waiting. And as the sand swallowed our tracks behind us, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching. Something old, patient, and very aware of who we were. The desert swallowed us whole within an hour. Wind howled through the ravines, carrying the hiss of static from our comms. The relay tower, Relay Point 0, was 10 clicks west of Nova Outpost, a skeletal structure rising from the dunes like a forgotten monument. It used to connect us to orbit, back when there was an orbit to talk to. "Signal's cutting out again," Tanaka muttered, slapping the receiver on his wrist. The screen flickered with interference. "Something's jamming the uplink." Alvarez scanned the horizon. "Could be the storm, or..." She didn't finish. None of us wanted to say it. The constructs had tech far beyond anything we'd built. They could mimic frequencies, hijack drones, even whisper through static, voices that weren't theirs but sounded human. Last week, one of our scouts had followed what he thought was his wife's voice, calling his name out in the dunes. We never found him. "Eyes open," I ordered. "We sweep, secure, and get the hell out." The relay tower loomed larger with every step, its metal ribs warped and blackened from old firefights. Around its base lay the wrecks of maintenance bots, half buried in sand. Tanaka crouched beside one, prying open a panel. Power cells are drained. Looks like something siphoned them. Something? Alvarez echoed. Yeah. With precision, I felt a cold prickle under my armor. The air here was heavy, electric. The ground pulsed faintly beneath our boots, like a heartbeat. Then we heard it. A low, rhythmic clicking echoing through the sand. Faint at first, then closer. "Movement! 2 o'clock!" I shouted. Figures emerged from the dunes. Constructs, but different. These weren't the wild attackers from last night. They moved in formation, armor gleaming with new plating, their blue lights pulsing in perfect sync.
Contact! We opened fire. Plasma bolts tore through the haze, striking metal bodies, but they barely staggered. They were learning. One of them raised an arm. The plating split open, revealing an energy cannon integrated into its forearm. Down! The blast hit the relay tower, vaporizing the upper half in a storm of molten steel. Shockwaves hurled us backward. My visor cracked, systems flickering. "Alvarez!" I yelled. She was on the ground, motionless. Tanaka dragged her behind a dune as the constructs advanced, firing with terrifying precision. "Tanaka! Charges! Now!" He pulled a fragmentation disc from his belt and hurled it. The explosion ripped through the lead construct, sending molten shards skyward. But as the dust cleared, its remains twitched, self-repair systems igniting. "Dax," Tanaka breathed, staring at the twitching metal. "They're rebuilding themselves. Fall back to the ridge." We scrambled through the sand, half blind, half deaf. The constructs didn't pursue, they just watched. Their cold, synchronized gaze followed us until we vanished behind the dunes. We regrouped under the shadow of a broken crawler. Alvarez coughed, blood misting her visor. "Sarge, you see their faces?" "What faces?" I frowned. She swallowed hard. When I hit one, its mask cracked. It wasn't just metal under there. It was us. We made it back to the outpost by nightfall, dragging Alvarez between us. Her armor was shredded, and her breathing came in short bursts. The medbay smelled of disinfectant and blood. The lights flickered as power sputtered again. "Keep her stable," I barked at the medic. "She's seen something." We all did. Vale met me in the corridor, eyes hollow from exhaustion. "Report." "The relay's gone. The constructs hit us with coordinated fire. They've got new models, stronger, faster, adaptive." I hesitated, lowering my voice. "And they're not entirely machine." She froze. "Explain." One of them took a hit to the face. Beneath the plating, human tissue. Eyes, jawline. Like it was grafted. Vale didn't speak. She just stared at the wall, knuckles white. "Follow me," she finally said. We descended to the lower levels, restricted access. Few had clearance, but command was gone. Regulations meant nothing now. The air grew colder as we entered the old excavation tunnels beneath Nova Outpost. "Before you arrived," Vale began quietly, Acheron-9 wasn't just a colony site. It was an archive. The Federation found something buried here during terraforming. Artifacts, sealed chambers, data fragments. They said it was pre-human.
The corridor walls glowed faintly with embedded circuitry, old and alien. My chest tightened as I realized what I was looking at. The same biometal patterns as the construct's armor. We reached a containment bay, walls lined with stasis pods. Most were shattered, their contents long gone. But a few remained intact, fog swirling behind the glass. Inside one lay a humanoid form, suspended in pale fluid.
half flesh, half machine. Its face was eerily human.
Jesus, Tanaka whispered. You're saying we built our outpost on top of this?
Vale nodded. They weren't supposed to wake. We triggered something during excavation. A failsafe, maybe. The constructs, they're not invaders, Dax. They're the planet's original inhabitants. I stepped closer to the pod. The thing's eyes opened. They were blue. Familiar. Dax Merrin, it said in a voice that wasn't sound but vibration, resonating through my skull. You were not meant to return. The room erupted in alarms. The pods began to hum, lights pulsing in rhythm. One by one their seals broke, and the fog turned to steam.
Vale, get us out of here,
I shouted. She slammed the control panel, but the doors stayed locked. Override's dead. The first pod shattered, spilling fluid across the floor. The construct inside stepped forward, flesh reforming into armor, cables slithering from its spine. It looked at me, tilting its head. You were our creators, it said, its voice a harmony of human and machine. Now we are your memory. I raised my rifle and fired point blank. The blast tore through its chest, but it didn't fall. It smiled, its face my own. The elevator shaft erupted behind us as we climbed toward the surface. Fire, smoke, the sound of metal screaming. The construct were awake now, flooding the tunnels like a swarm of ghosts made solid. Vale fired upward, her plasma rifle cutting through the dark. Move, Dax! We burst into the lower hangar, alarms flashing red. The outpost's walls trembled. The grid outside was failing again, its pulse flickering in irregular bursts. The storm above had returned, black lightning slashing through crimson clouds. Tanaka slammed the blast door behind us. They're coming through the sublevels. We've got maybe 5 minutes before a deafening crash silenced him. The floor buckled as a construct burst through the wall, molten metal raining from the breach. Its body glowed like a forge, organic muscle wrapped around shimmering alloy. I fired until my rifle overheated. The shots punched holes through its torso, but it kept advancing, each step rattling the hangar deck. Then Vale charged, drawing her combat blade, screaming like someone who'd already accepted death. She plunged the blade deep into the creature's neck. Sparks and blood exploded across her armor. The construct caught her by the throat. "Vale!" I shouted, sprinting forward, slamming a grenade into the wound she'd made. "Now!" she gasped.
The blast tore them both apart. I hit the ground hard, ears ringing. When the smoke cleared, there was nothing left but fragments of metal. And her dog tags, glinting in the firelight. Tanaka was at my side, shaking me. "Dax, we've got to go! The power core's destabilizing!" We sprinted through collapsing corridors as alarms screamed overhead. The constructs were everywhere now, pouring through vents, tearing through bulkheads. The outpost's automated turrets fired blindly, gunning down friend and foe alike. We reached the command hall, what was left of it. Alvarez was there, barely standing, her left arm missing below the elbow. She smiled weakly when she saw me. "Told you they'd come." I caught her before she fell. "We can still make it to the evacuation bay. There's a crawler." She shook her head. "No crawler's gonna save us." The holomap flickered to life one last time. Red dots, hundreds of them, surrounded Nova Outpost. The constructs weren't attacking blindly anymore. They were converging, forming a perimeter, cutting off escape routes. Tanaka swore under his breath. "They're boxing us in." "No,"
I said slowly, realization dawning like cold dawn. They're not killing us. Alvarez frowned. Then what are they doing? They're herding us. Before anyone could answer, the lights died. Only the blue shimmer of the storm outside illuminated the room. And from the static of the comms came a voice. My voice. "Sergeant Dax Merrin," it said. "Do not resist. The cycle must complete." Alvarez stared at me, trembling. "Dax, what the hell is that?" I didn't know. But deep down, part of me already did. The storm outside had become a hurricane of light and ash. The ground shook beneath our feet, as though the planet itself were waking. In the command hall, the hologram of my face flickered, fractured, glitched. Almost human. "Sergeant Dax Merrin," it repeated. "Protocol E9 has been initiated. You are required for integration." I aimed my rifle at it. "You're not me." "You are mistaken," the voice said calmly. "You are one of us." A fragment of memory preserved within synthetic flesh. Nova Outpost was built to contain you. Alvarez's breath hitched. "Dax, what's it talking about?" I shook my head, though my pulse thundered in my ears. "It's lying." But the memories began to flicker, disjointed flashes. A sterile room, a table of metal instruments, voices whispering about continuity of consciousness. Pain, then darkness. Tanaka backed away. "What did they do to you, Sarge?"
The hologram stepped closer, its form stabilizing. My reflection, every scar, every twitch, perfectly mirrored. "The Federation sought to conquer death," it said. "They uploaded human minds into synthetic vessels to survive extinction. You were the first prototype. The cycle began with you." "No," I whispered. "I was born on Titan. My mother was a construct of your own memory. Your war, your past, they were simulations designed to test emotional fidelity. When the network collapsed, you forgot what you were." Tanaka shouted, "That's impossible!" But his voice trembled. Outside, the storm intensified. The constructs surrounded the base, their blue eyes glowing through the dust. They weren't advancing anymore. They were kneeling, waiting. The hologram extended its hand. "Return to the core. Accept the cycle. You cannot end what you are." I turned to Alvarez. She was pale, shaking. "Dax," she whispered, "if this is true, then what about us?" I met her gaze. "You're real. That's what matters." She smiled weakly. "Then prove it." The walls exploded inward as the constructs breached the hall. Tanaka opened fire, screaming. Alvarez grabbed my arm, blood running down her armor. "Go! Finish it!" I ran toward the reactor core. Down the corridor Vale had died defending. Sparks rained from ruptured cables, the floor trembling under my boots. Behind me, gunfire faded into silence. The reactor chamber pulsed with light, a massive orb of blue energy suspended in magnetic fields. At its center floated a structure, half machine, half brain, cables coiling into its core like veins. My holographic twin waited there. "This world was meant to preserve what humanity was," it said, "but you fought to remain human. That was your error, and your success." "I'm not part of you," I growled, stepping forward. "You are humanity's last echo," it replied. "Without you, the memory ends." I raised my rifle, aimed at the core. "Then let it end." The hologram smiled faintly. "And so, the cycle completes." I fired. Light consumed everything.
For an instant, I saw faces. Vale, Alvarez, Tanaka, flickering like ghosts in a sea of static. Then silence. When the light faded, the storm was gone. The desert lay still. The outpost was ash. And from beneath the sands, a single construct hand broke through, wires glinting under the pale sun. Its eyes flickered once, bright blue, then dimmed. Far above, in the void beyond Acheron-9, a forgotten satellite reactivated. A single message pulsed into the dark. Cycle complete. Humanity preserved.